I might hold the world record for the wildest homeowners association nightmare. My house bulldozed by an HOA I didn't even belong to. Not exactly a trophy you display. It started not with a bang, but with a plain gray envelope stuffed in my grandfather's rusty mailbox. Grab a coffee. This tale of suburban power trips, sheer audacity, and hard-won justice is a wild ride. Drop a comment with where you're reading from to let me know how far this HOA horror story has spread. It began with a house my grandfather, Frank, built in the late 1960s on a 5-acre plot in the middle of nowhere. A solid brick rancher, surrounded by towering oaks he refused to cut. Frank, a civil engineer, obsessed over precision, from the foundation to the property lines. When he passed, he left it to me, Lucas Bennett, a federal investigator untangling white-collar crime. My days are filled with forensic accounting, witness interviews, and endless paperwork. I lived in a city apartment 2 hours away, so Frank's place sat empty while I planned to renovate, swapping urban noise for oak-shaded quiet. I visited twice a month to mow the lawn and check the house, savoring the peace. Then developers moved in, buying the 100 acres behind Frank's land for a cookie-cutter subdivision called Green Hills Estates, a name so calm, it was practically false advertising. My 5 acres became an island in a sea of beige houses and manicured lawns. With the houses came the HOA, led by its queen, Diane Foster. I first met her through her flamboyant signature on that gray envelope, printed on fancy Green Hills stationery. It welcomed me to the neighborhood, demanding $600 in overdue HOA dues plus a $50 late fee. I laughed at a clerical error from an overzealous HOA. I sent a polite reply, explaining my property, parcel 47C-15, wasn't part of their development, including Frank's land grant and a county plat map. Buried in a massive fraud case, I mailed it and moved on. 2 weeks later, another envelope arrived, sharper in tone. It claimed my dues were further behind, and my property violated rules. Frank's 1968 mailbox, the non-compliant, blue front door, and the oaks. Fines hit $750, signed by Diane Foster. This wasn't a mistake, it was intentional. As an investigator, I live for facts. Fact, my land wasn't in their HOA. Evidence, county records. Procedure, they should have checked and backed off. I called the number on the letterhead. A board member said Diane, the president, didn't take calls. Write it down, she droned. I explained I'd already done so, repeating my property status. She paused, then said, your parcel's in our Phase 2 annexation, filed last year. Attend a board meeting if you disagree. Annexation? Impossible without my signed, notarized consent, which I'd never given. There's no annexation. I'm the sole owner, and your records are wrong. Her reply, our records say otherwise. You owe $1,400, due in 30 days. Click. Phone still in hand, a chill hit me. This wasn't a mix-up, it was a hornet's nest. I opened my laptop. The county registrar's site confirmed no annexation, no filings. The Phase 2 was fiction. I dug into the HOA's bylaws and board. Diane was president. Her husband, Greg, a real estate agent, was treasurer. Cozy setup. This was a power grab by a woman who decided my land was hers. Facts be damned. I sent a certified cease and desist letter, citing property rights laws, with copies of my deed and county maps, warning of legal action. I thought it would end there, a clear shot across the bow. But Diane wasn't rational. She was just warming up. A month later, the certified receipt returned, signed by Diane. Silence followed, and I hoped she'd backed off. My fraud case sent me overseas, pushing the HOA to the back burner. Then I met George Ellis, a retired surveyor in Green Hills, during a routine property check. He was eyeing my oaks with binoculars, looking like a bird watcher. You Frank's grandson? He asked, shaking my hand. Shame what they're trying to do. He spilled. Diane wanted my oaks gone because they shaded her prized rose garden, ranting at board meetings that my land was hers. George, who'd seen my deed, knew she was wrong, but said she didn't care about facts, she wanted control. She was planning a lien to force me out, aiming to sell my land to a developer friend for luxury condos. I installed a high-res, motion-activated security system that day, streaming to my phone and cloud. Overkill? Not necessary. A month later, a certified packet announced a $2,850 lien for unpaid dues, fines, and legal fees, threatening foreclosure. The nerve was unreal. They were trying to steal my house. I called my lawyer, Emily, who'd handled my inheritance. "This is the most blatant fraudulent lien I've seen," she said, furious. "It's baseless. We'll expunge it and sue for slander of title." We filed motions, but the HOA's shady law firm stalled, aiming to wear me down. My case sent me to London for 2 weeks. I trusted Emily, the cameras, and my no trespassing signs to hold the line. Surely Diane wouldn't escalate with a lawsuit pending. I was wrong. In a London hotel, a text from George hit. "They're at your house with a bulldozer." My heart stopped. The camera feed showed a nightmare. A yellow bulldozer on my lawn, a crew in hard hats, and Diane Foster in a crisp blazer directing them. They were chaining my porch. Shaking, I called the sheriff, yelling about illegal demolition. The dispatcher, confused, promised a deputy. I woke Emily, who was stunned. "No court order, no judgment. This is criminal destruction." The feed showed the bulldozer rip into the porch. Diane clapped, then pointed at the house. This wasn't about treason, it was conquest. Rage replaced panic. I wasn't just a homeowner. I was an investigator. The house was gone, but Diane would pay. Back home, I drove to Rubble. A sign read, "Future site of Green Hills Towers, an exclusive community by Green Hills Estates, HOA." Deputies arrived too late, misled by Diane's forged court order claiming my house was a public nuisance. Emily met me, holding the fake order forged case number, fake judge's signature, photocopied seal. "It's a felony," she said. We planned a two-pronged attack, a massive civil suit against the HOA, Diane, Greg, the board, and the demolition company for replacement costs, punitive damages, and emotional distress, plus a criminal case I'd built. I took bereavement leave, donned my investigator hat, and got to work. I photographed the rubble, tire tracks, and sign, bagging them as evidence. George provided intel. The developer, Victor Hayes, wanted my land for condos. Greg skimmed HOA funds for lavish events. The board, a timid couple named the Wilsons, were Diane's puppets. Background checks showed Diane and Greg's failing real estate business and second mortgage. Victor likely bribed them for my land. I visited the demolition company's owner, Mike, who folded when shown the forged order next to a real one. Diane said it was legal, he stammered, admitting to a $15,000 cash payment. His affidavit made him a witness, not a defendant. Using the HOA's bylaws, I got on the next meeting's agenda, listing my topic as resolution of parcel 47C15. Diane would think I was begging to settle. Emily filed a $10 million suit, summons delivered to rattle the board. Posing as a buyer, I visited Greg's agency, spotting cash deals ripe for skimming. I briefed a DA colleague on the fraud, forgery, and conspiracy, requesting police on standby. I prepared a projector with evidence, house photos, plat maps, forged orders, Mike's affidavit. At the meeting, the clubhouse hummed with 30 residents. Diane, flanked by Greg and the Wilsons, smirked as she opened the session. My turn came. She gave me 5 minutes. "I won't need a mic, Diane," I said, setting up the projector. "And I'll need more than 5 minutes." Greg bristled. I cut him off. "I'm here as the victim of your criminal enterprise." I projected Frank's house, detailing their lies. Fake dues, invented annexation, forged order. Gasps rose as I showed the forgery beside a real order. "Diane paid $15,000 cash for this crime," I said, staring at Greg. "Unreported in your treasurer's update." Residents recoiled. Diane stood, yelling about slander, ordering security to eject me. I flashed my badge. "I'm a federal investigator. This is mail fraud, wire fraud, forgery, and conspiracy." Silence fell. Diane's face went white. I turned to the crowd. "Your HOA's bankrupt. My suit will insure it. Your insurance won't cover crime-isuri, all liable." Chaos erupted. Residents shouted at the board. Police entered on cue. I nodded at Diane, Greg, and the Wilsons. They were cuffed and let out. Diane's empire collapsed. Victor Hayes was arrested the next day, tied by Greg's records. The HOA went into receivership. My suit settled for enough to rebuild a modern, energy-efficient house on Frank's foundation, oaks intact. George now runs a fair HOA. Diane got 7 years in prison, her arrogance her undoing. On my new porch, I think of Frank, who built on truth and order. Diane's reign of intimidation fell when someone with a stronger foundation fought back. That's a lesson worth more than any house. If this story hit you, comment with your location and subscribe to Lone Wolf Tales for more stories of justice.